Oh, I need to examine him in order to talk to him? Lord Van Zieks. I think he's ignoring you, Runo. Let's see if he ignores my crossbow. The prosecution and defense should avoid speaking outside the courtroom, as a rule. So if anyone is being rude here, it's most certainly the man in black there, standing before us. Oh, I see. Well, thank you for setting the record straight. Did you see that, Runo? He spoke to me. Senpai noticed me. So, Lord Van Zieks, have you managed to visit the Great Exhibition yet? He's gonna throw you them dots. You know what's up. He's definitely ignoring you. Right. No nice cities either, then. Can I look at this? Look, it's a scale model of the Great Exhibition Showground. Oh, well, I meant that, but okay. That's amazing. I wonder why it's here. Perhaps he made it to take his mind off the sadness of being too busy to attend in person. Or perhaps he's too embarrassed to queue up for a ticket. Surely, it's obvious that I'm using it as an investigative aid. Ugh! You Nipponese have no business painting others as overly reserved. Ugh! Really didn't think he'd overhear that. An arquebus. That portrait really dominates the room, doesn't it? It's a very majestic outfit and pose, but sadly, whoever painted it didn't do a very good job of capturing Lord Van Zieks' facial features. Is it not supposed to be him, maybe? Is it his dad? Yes, you're right. I mean, it's not far off, but the artist has exaggerated his subject's handsomeness, I think. Ah, that reminds me. I heard Emperor Napoleon of France ordered artists to make him look more attractive when they painted him. How vain. That's really not an attractive quality in a person, is it? That portrait does not depict me. Surely that's immediately obvious. Oh, then who is it? Oh, do I get a conversation with him now? No. I don't. I wonder if I could have gotten one back when he was speaking to me. Huh. Can I examine him and get the, conversation? May I? No. Right, well, let's move. Sholmes here? Sholmes is not here. Unless he's hiding? Hiding? He's not hiding. Well, I thought that, do they have a crank on them? I thought that was the whole deal. That it was, the idea that you could whatever you want to call it, store more potential energy than you could by physically pulling a bow. That you get a multiplier or whatever by turning a thing. Not gonna be anything here. No. I'm gonna real quick run through all 4 of the conversation options again, just to see if they change for some reason, even though that never happens. Well, I feel like in at least some D&D editions, bows would have a strength requirement. Like, you can't use it at all. Like, you can't pull it back if you don't have strength equal to whatever it is. But then being stronger doesn't mean that you can pull it back more. Or, you know, doesn't mean that you can impart more force. Oh, crossbows were a matter of they needed less training, but they still required upper body strength. So that's what I thought. They say, like, the platform above us is where he is, and maybe he will listen to us. But it doesn't seem like I have... Whoops. Any option of going up there. Oh, wait. Is this not the same thing? These stairs obviously lead to the stage above, idiot. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. Screw you. I clicked close enough to the stairs that you should have known what I meant. So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up. Ooh, it must have been a magnificent explosion, and I've seen my fair share. You've seen things like this before, you mean? Of course! Hurley's always doing experiments that end in a bang. In fact, he does them right in my face. He says it's not real science unless a 10-year-old girl is in danger. Mortal danger for her life. In his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry. Ah, that might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs. One time, he made something that exploded with such force it took the roof off the building. That is a problem. I wish you'd been there to die in it. Like, don't I live right next to the roof? It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof. He's on top of it for once. Well, anyway, it's enough about that. Time to investigate. Windlass cranks? Windlass types. Cranks could allow for higher force. Anti-siege weapons due to their ease of use and heavy projectiles, lending themselves well to armor penetration for force. Yeah, I guess that's what I thought of is a crossbow being something you didn't really, like, reload on the fly, but that you would sit there and crank it until it was in place, and then put the bolt in, and then fire it, and then the person dies from being crossbow bolted in the face, hopefully. Ah, look! Inspector Gregson is over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, whilst eyeing up the machine carefully. Really? He just looks confused to me. It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it? Magnificently and mercilessly. So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air. Yes, beamed, not blasted. That's the point. Yes, the part's crucial, really. Is something like that even possible, though, Iris? Oh, Runo, I'm just a child. How should I know? I'm only a baby. A child when it suits you, you mean? From what I can tell, I think if you were to pull this lever here... Stop! Don't touch that! That was practically instantaneous kinesis the way you flew over just now, Gregsy. Please, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here. So sorry. You can have some of my latest special blend to make up for it. Wonderful. This stuff really is wonderful. He didn't say ta. You're supposed to say ta. Ta very much, is what he says. It's just like old times. Just like old times, this is. Did they beam people in Willy Wonka? I've never seen The Prestige. I hear that I should. I already know the twist, I think. Unless I'm thinking of another movie. There are two movies. There's two movies. Oh, I just noticed that the Ferris wheel is actually turning. Very slowly. That's nice. We're representing Professor Hairbrain in court tomorrow, Inspector, so we should be allowed to examine the scene. Ha! Listen, Sunshine, even I'm not allowed to touch anything up here. It's that blasted Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act to blame. It's driving me potty. Is that where they drive? In England? I knew they drove on the left side of the road. Didn't know about this part. Oh yes, that Special Dispensation. The professor mentioned that too. More red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks it's playing at sometimes. But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Eh? Surely that's alright, isn't it, Gregsy? Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship. But please, don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you? Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything, would we, Runo? She really knows how to get what she wants. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body and then beam him across to the Crystal Tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public, especially without trying it out first. On a dog? On a block of stone? True. It was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition, mind. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed, carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean. The government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're more worried about being ahead of the game than the odd spot of public safety infringements. They are allowed to teleport spiders only if the machine does not work yet. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see. Yes, I suppose that's true, in a way. The powers that be are placing a heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment. What sort of rights? They're making it so any theories the brains have remain their legal property, as it were, right through developing it into a practical idea and even going into production. Which is the infuriating reason us coppers aren't allowed to touch this crime scene. Oh, so wait, so they're in the process of inventing the idea of patenting, but they're like, but that means you can't investigate scientists because you might get their idea. It's like, no, that's what the patent's for. The new highfalutin Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act forbids it. I see now. The only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department in the yard. The Forensic Investigation Team, or FIT, it's called. We've been relegated to keeping guard. The Forensic Investigation Team. Any old fool can see this heap of scrap metal was a sham to begin with. Just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flamin' thing with it. If it infinitely copies the dogs, then we get a world full of puppers. If they use spiders, we'd all be covered in spiders. Well, perhaps they could just cover it in... They could just put a video game in there. You wouldn't copy a video game, would you? Poor Gregsy. He's very het up. Is he? Okay. I guess that's a word like heated. You just say het. I can see how it's more efficient. Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here? Are you having it at me, Sunshine? It's the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Or SDC, for short. Yes, I think Hurley mentioned that recently. A real twinkle in his eye, as I remember. Oh, I'm sure he did, your ladyship. I'm sure he did. Passed especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service, and if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality. What does that really mean? Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me. Put forward by shammers like yourself. Oh, thanks for that. Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's all so fun. Might be fun to you, but a member of the Force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine, eh? Hang science, that's what I say. Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job. I'd soon think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers' bogus contraptions. But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point. Yeah, well. There is a point, sadly. Sorry? Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas. If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant. The scientists get funding? Exactly. That's what they're all after. All these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them all safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't you? Hang science. Hang it. Yeah, for me, that's the first time I've ever seen the word het. As in, het, he's very het up. Oh, maybe I can see your point. How about the prof? Give me the deets on the prof. Apparently, Professor Harebrained now lives and works in Germany now, conducting his research. That's right. Came back to Britain especially for the Great Exhibition, as I understand it. Probably after one of the government's research grants. Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education. It turns out he was at university with someone we both know. Lord Van Zieks. Huh? What's that? That's news to me. But if Van Zieks demands the prosecution, then as the accused, the professor's fate is sealed? Because the Reaper will get him one way or the other? Blimey. That man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. Talking of Van Zieks, this morning's paper ran the story of him being attacked. Read that? Oh yes, but Mr. Reaper is completely fine. Nothing to worry about. Yes, right. Glad to hear it. Still, the Reaper, huh? How long's that business gonna keep up, I wonder? The mystery of the Reaper. The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman, he was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard. Lord Barak Van Zieks is a top-class prosecutor, but even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win. Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed, evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it? Oh yeah, he's been eating that for years now. He should patent it, like the everlasting gobstopper. He's got everlasting fish and chips. Don't let anyone steal it. Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zieks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters into his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court. Although the man himself denies that charge. Well, we've done a very thorough investigation. The conclusion we reached is that Lord Van Zieks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. No question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would. But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't have just coincidentally died if nobody killed them. People are killed when they die. An anime told me so. I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery, after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper. Professor Harebrained mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zieks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind. Rarely insulted people from Japan. You what? He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was? He just patented it because he didn't want everlasting gobstoppers to exist. No clue. Really? Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself somewhere else, eh? How about if I just examine this crime scene, huh? How would you like that? Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrained was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. Should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think. Touch anything and I'll be sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, you hear? I won't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare a thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims? Yes, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, sunshine. If we were allowed to examine all this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't, can we? Because of the annoying rules, you mean? Exactly. The annoying, obstructive, flaming rules. Oh. Look at the base of the machine there. Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh. It's a screwdriver, I think. Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle's in the shape of a capital letter A. A for a crossbow. It is? Oh, yes, you're right. What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything, I said. Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, I said. Yes, I understand. Sorry. I only touched it a teeny-weeny bit. It barely even meets the legal threshold for touching. But Gregsy, I'm very curious about the screwdriver. Really, very, very curious. Of course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it. But Runo found it first. I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly. He's gone off with it. That was very mean. I'm afraid Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in next month's installment now. Poor Gregsy. Now that he's not here, I'm going to touch things. Won't I? Apparently not. We'll look at the Taj Mahal, I guess. Oh, he's still here. But can I go up? Hey now! That's where the magic happens. I mean the science. That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing toward the Crystal Tower. I suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, they're shot out of that thing to wherever they're going. I don't think it was supposed to shoot anything, Runo. It was set up to beam people to the Crystal Tower, where they'd be reconstructed in their original form. You know, like 180 pounds worth of beam. That's not shooting. Well, I don't like the look of it. If it was as amazing as it looks, the accident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course. I suppose that's true, yes. But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? Unless you're the A-team. Are these balloons going to be important? So those are people carrying balloons, dangling silently in the skies over London. I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly, but I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from colorful floating Tamari handballs. I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Runo, please. If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it. But without a cast iron guarantee that the thing won't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared. Oh, well, in that case, I should tell you what Hurley said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground as long as it doesn't explode. Yes, call me crazy, but I think that exploding part might play on my mind a little. Perfectly safe hydrogen. Hydrogen gas. Safest thing on Earth. Never explodes. There are all sorts of strange buildings here in the Great Exhibition Grounds, aren't there? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time. Oh, in your country, Runo? I do wish I could go see it. I'd present a particularly steely samurai with a present of one of Hurley's stories I'd written especially, and see if I couldn't get Hurley into a jam against some Bartitsu master ninjas. You might not find as many of those sorts of people around as you think. Oh, well, that's dull. Oh, but I do know a prosecutor with a Chonmage top knot I could introduce you to. A Chonmage? Really? Do you think I could have my picture taken with him, do you? Assuming he's recovered from the trim Kazuma gave him a year ago, yes. Hair doesn't grow back. What is that thing? It looks like an enormous water wheel. Oh, that's a Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins you can see. Why? That's dumb. Why don't they just watch Hiten Styles stream if they want to be entertained? Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery. Wait, it's turning, but it looks completely still. No, it doesn't. I even took note of its rotature earlier. That's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour. If you were mad enough to go in one, it would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think? I feel as though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, Runo. When was the last time I was on a Ferris wheel? Maybe never. We have an amusement park not too far from here, the Great Escape. It wasn't originally part of Six Flags, but I think it is now. I think Six Flags bought it, like, a long time ago. But I haven't been there. I haven't been there in... I can't even estimate. Yikes. And do they even have a Ferris wheel there? And if they did I go on it? No, I would have gone on the roller coaster, or I would have been boring and played at the arcade. Go to an amusement park to play at the arcade, because that's what I would do. I am very tall. I'm tall enough, reasonably tall. I don't have anything else to... Do I present such a thing to him? Oh, you're actually too tall to ride. Like, there's a maximum, you say. Would you like a crossbow? As a detective, what do you make of this? Well, 9 times out of 10, I found clues turned out to be red herring, so there's every chance it's totally irrelevant. Fairly persuasive. Alright, he didn't care about the crossbow. Like this. Alright, let's try moving and see what they say. Oh, no, she wants to tinker around this place some more. Okay. Here we go. Oh! I know there was a... Oh, I don't remember the name of the water. There was some water park that had constructed some water slide that was like, flagrantly not safe. Like, was just designed by idiots. And I don't think it was someone who was too tall. I think it was actually a kid. It was like a young kid was on there and got decapitated. I don't think it was that recent. It might have been like 10 years ago or so, but I mean, recent enough. 6'6" is pretty tall. I could see that being too tall. Inspector, have you read this paper? Yeah, 2 unwelcome blasts back to back. This one at the exhibition, and the Reaper getting attacked. I know. Terrible news to wake up to, wasn't it? I tried to pretend I hadn't read it. Turned over for another 40 winks. Thanks to that, I was late up and got a roasting from the super. Some mornings are like that, aren't they? Alright, well that didn't help. Can I... There's no stairs that I examined to go back down, so how do I go back down? I can't. I guess we're just done with the other place. She's making it sound like there's still something to find here. No, alright, it's not anything I need to examine, still. Hacienda Hebreca. This is the symbol of a defense lawyer where I come from, Inspector. Well, doesn't pass muster here in London. Might as well chuck it in the deep fat fryer. No one's ever said that to me before. Mr. Sholmes suggested I feed it to a dog, though. You can fry it first, you can feed it to me. Does he think it's made of potato? Why wouldn't it be? I'm going to try leaving and coming back and seeing if it puts me back down at the lower level. It did. But so what? There's nothing else to examine here either. There's the stairs that I can take, should I desire. Oh? Oh look, what's this? A ripped piece of cloth? Not like any fabric I've ever seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It looks extremely durable. It's canvas, I think, with some sort of rubber backing. And the edges appear to be a bit charred as well. Maybe that means it had something to do with the explosion. I thought it was grass. Let's make a note of it while Ginny is mid-yawn. And just like that, we're done with the area. No, listen. Oh, what is it? I've been thinking. Hurley might know something, mightn't he? About what? About Mr. Reaper. About what happened to Lord Van Zieks, you mean? It sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Sholmes at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he? This is what you need. What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket? Madame Tuppence. Is this supposed to mean something to me? You don't know it? It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We could go now if you like. No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow. But that's where Hurley is. What, at this popular London attraction? Yes! How is it that you know where he is? Hurley told me, but he told me to keep it a secret from you, Bruno. Madame Tuppence. I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating here, but then stranger things have happened. And when they happen, Mr. Sholmes is usually at the heart of them. Yeah, Tussaud. It's pronounced Tussaud, right? Dun dun dun! Dun dun dun! Dun dun dun! What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes, but why are all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight. They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Bruno? Shocked? Wax models? Ugh! I read about dead bodies in wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called a adipocere? What? What? I've never heard of that. A waxy substance produced by the decomposition of dead animal bodies in moist burial places or underwater. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know where I've heard of it, but yeah, I've heard of it. But I maybe it is pronounced with the D, Madame Tussauds. Okay. Stop talking about creepy things like that, Bruno. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipocere doesn't form readily in... Ugh! What now? I've just remembered something else I read in another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. None of the exhibits in here are real. Stop screaming. They're all entirely man-made replicas. They can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them. Oh. There's no way anybody could make models of people that are this realistic. And there's no way that it could, have a bearing on the case, obviously. And they're all such gruesome scenes. Wait. What is it? Oh. No. I must be seeing things. Hand. Is this an arm? It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork models has fallen over. You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you? Bruno, stop scaring me. It could be? I don't actually know. Is it a wax arm or a real one? Only one way to find out. Hand me your gun. Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels. Objection! That big heavy curtain is in a very prominent position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something truly terrifying behind it. Oh yes, that's the famous Two Spells special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want to pay the extra fee and have a look? Pay more money to be even more terrified? Oh, let me think about. I have to think carefully about this. If I pick the wrong one, the world might turn into sand. It was only a suggestion. Please do not touch the statues. Is this some infamous murderer? Yes. Called Jane the Ripper. All her victims were young women. I knew it. You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer. Dodoy. Ugh! What's the matter, Runo? I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore. Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. Doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry. I don't think it's significant. You put a bathtub above the mantle in the first act. Somebody better be putting dead bodies in it by the third act. Still think it has to be there for a reason. It's a bird! No, a plane. The great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really? Well, he is world famous after all. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? Makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know. But look, Runo, you can kick this Hurley and he doesn't move a muscle. Can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Wait. It just moved, I'm sure, and not a little bit either. Really? Did it? And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. I just noticed how much this alleyway looks like the alleyway that you're in There Is No Game, in the Sherlock Holmes stage. Probably it's from one of the books or something. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look, there's a great murder scene to enjoy, much more appealing. My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes! I knew it. Shub also knew it. They're like twins. They both knew it. Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? And that kick, could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me. But Runo has something he needs to ask you. Ah, a question. And I thought you'd probably be getting bored, too. So here we are. Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that, and my great brain, upon which all my success has been built, would have turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? He could know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zieks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For your own luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry, because I was going to end the stream soon. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now. But how could it be? I shall speak again presently, my dear fellow, but for now I must return to my work. What, back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? It's a living! What do you mean by temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? This guy. This freaking guy. Exactly what you see. I am part of the exhibits here. Catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half an hour, I hone in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come in for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money! He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous Iris to consider. Does she eat a lot? Is that her character trait? Hurley, I'm so hungry. If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruto. What's he threatening to rope me into now? So with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Naruto, ignore me at your peril. Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me? His final remark there sounded a lot like a curse. Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zieks. Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust? And so I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learnt. About Lord Van Zieks, Professor Hairbrain, hydrogen in balloons, and the strange coincidence that they had been in at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zieks such a racist. I mean, such a different person. I was sure that you'd know, Hurley. You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've reached the unavoidable... Greetings. It's a witch! It's a golden witch. Ah, hello. Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious? I hope you are appreciating my museum. Sorry? Have we... Mr. Sholmes, do you know that... Not again. My apologies. I am Esmeralda Two Spells. This is my museum of waxwork. You're the Madame Two Spells? Bien sûr. Though only 26 years young, I might add. Is that significant somehow? I'm a Madame in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather one waxwork in particular. That'll be Mr. Sholmes, then. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Oh! Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. She sounds deadly serious. Also, she's wielding a deadly weapon. It's a problem. And a crime. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zieks now? Let's not forget what Hurley said before. About something being afoot right here in the museum, I mean. Yes, I know, but... I'm so curious, I want to know what's happening here. Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Two Spells? I did. I am the 3rd generation of waxwork artisans, you know. Gosh! It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeness. Lifelikeness? All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions, that is the secret of the extraordinary lifelikeness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying? Maybe an exploding puppy instead. Do not fear. Sorry? This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians, something for every taste, I hope. It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it. Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things. Alright, so I think we're going to have a bunch more investigation. I had thought we were just going to come talk to him and then get the wrap up and go directly to the, end the investigation and go to the trial, and we would have a chance to end there. But I guess we'll just end here because it seems like there's still a bunch more to go, and we'll pick up tomorrow, normal time. So thank you guys for being here. Hope you're enjoying. This is it's pretty good so far. Like I said, the first 2 cases wound up not really thrilling me, but this seems alright so far. I kind of like it. So thanks, and hope to see you next time. Have a good night.